I'm Jenna, an upholsterer and designer, and today I'm going to show you how to take this 5-gallon plastic bucket and turn it into a 70s inspired upholstered ottoman. Very first step, we're going to get rid of the handle. I'm going to take some tin snips. Don't need that anymore. Along with this 5-gallon bucket, we're gonna be using these wood rounds. They're pre-cut, 18 inches, 12 inches, and 10. This will be the base. Set this on the floor with the bucket. And then this will be the mushroom cap. Before we attach the two smaller of the wood rounds to the bucket, we are gonna measure first the circumference of each of them. We need that calculation in order to create the pattern for the upholstery fabric. Then we're gonna add an inch to that number for seam allowance. All right, now that we have those two measurements, we're gonna start attaching these two wood rounds to the bucket. This is another upholstery supply. It's called jute webbing. We are not gonna glue the wood rounds in place. Instead, we're gonna use jute webbing. First, gonna attach the jute webbing in the center. This part is definitely a balancing act. It's always a little rough when you get started. So we're gonna attach it just to the edge. Just do one staple. This is the most important part. You wanna try to get it as centered as possible. Okay, now that I have all the jute webbing positioned into place, I'm gonna go around and tighten each of the sides. It'll help keep the fabric nice and tight. We've got the stump of the mushroom all covered with jute webbing. Now we're going to make the pattern for the stump of the mushroom. When thinking about creating your upholstery pattern, you want to think a lot about like fashion. Think about a shirt, like the shirt I'm wearing right now. It has multiple pieces that are sewn together to create this top. That's basically what we're going to do, is create a top for the bucket. So it's going to be made out of 4 different pieces, all sewn together. It'll be smaller on one end and bigger down the other, and we will pull it this way down and then attach it underneath and attach it to the top. Now we got our pattern made and cut to the correct size. Now it's time to lay it out on the fabric and cut our pieces. We got our 4 different panels. Now we're going to make center notches in each one of them. What you're gonna do is you're gonna fold it in half, like so. Corners each meeting, you're gonna fold it in half. And then you're just gonna take this little corner right here and you're just gonna cut and make a little notch. Now, why are we doing this? We're setting ourselves up for success when we're sewing, and then we will line up the notches and you will sew down one way, go back to the center notch, and then up the other. Okay, we've got all of our center notches. Now we are going to go sew these 2 pieces together, and then each of those pieces together, making one round piece. All right, let's go to the sewing room. You're gonna take 2 of the patterns we just cut out, line them up at the center notches, set down the foot right in the center of the notches. All right, so we sewed together these 2 parts, and now we're gonna sew those together. All 4 pieces are sewn together now. Oh, this looks so good. And this is gonna go around the base of our mushroom ottoman. All right, let's go put it on. We're going to now wrap Dacron around the bucket's base. So we're gonna put the good side down. I'm just going to put the Dacron just a little bit above the top. You're gonna spray the spray glue directly onto the jute webbing. Ooh, stinky. This stuff's awesome. And we're just gonna keep spraying on the jute webbing. cut off some of this excess. Hold on to this piece for the mushroom cap. Now, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just want to get ends of the dacron butted up to each other. So I cut off all the excess dacron off the bottom. This is the part that's going to sit directly on the floor. And then we have a little bit of an edge right there. That's just to give it a nice little rounded soft corner where the mushroom cap sits. We're actually going to take the edge of the dacron and just staple it back. Doesn't have to be pretty, just wanting to hold the dacron in place. It's the equivalent of holding the ends of your long sleeve shirt when you're putting on a jacket or a sweater. Same concept. In upholstery, you just gotta get used to using a ton of staples. Got it all wrapped around the top. Again, none on the bottom. Pull it over here. This is when you're gonna get to see how you really got to learn how to stretch fabric. And then if you find an area where it's like super tight, you're having some problems pulling it, you can do what's called a release cut. It's just a little cut. Just gives it a little extra stretch. It's alive, it's working. Sorry, I'm really happy. It's working! We've got the sewn part completely pulled down tight around the mushroom base. Now we're going to staple it in place. We're gonna start at the top of one seam, pull it tight, staple it into place. There's no way to really get it absolutely perfect, but we're gonna try to get this seam as straight down as possible. So, got that tacked. I'm gonna pull it tight, make sure there's not any extra give, and then we're going to staple it in place. Go across from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Pull it tight, boom, flip it over. Upholstery is an arm workout in itself. 12-6, now we're going 3-9. Looking so good. Now it's time to add the dust cover. We're first gonna add the dust cover onto the bottom of the Ottoman. I'm gonna go out about 1/2 inch, 3/4. You will repeat this concept again and again in upholstery projects, going from 12 to 6, 3 to 9. This is how you easily manipulate the fabric and get it all even. Now I've got the dust cover all stapled onto the bottom. We're gonna go and add dust cover onto the top of the base of the mushroom, just to make sure that we got enough all in place. And then we're literally just going to staple it into place so it doesn't move. See, it's all stapled into place. Now we're gonna set this off to the side and work on the mushroom cap. For the mushroom top, we're going to use 2 pieces of high density upholstery foam, cotton, and another wraparound of poly wrap. First things first, we're going to cut this scrap piece of foam with the largest of the wood rounds. Just trace around the circle. And then I just happen to have an extra one of the 10-inch wood rounds that we put on the bottom of the mushroom stump, and we're going to trace a circle of that as well. This is 3-inch thick upholstery foam. Boom. Now, we're going to use our upholstery foam saw. With the foam saw, this part has wheels on it, runs along your flat surface, so you can just move around as you go, and you want to try to keep it as straight, plumb as possible. We're gonna set off our 2 pieces of foam to the side and bring the mushroom stump back onto the scene. Lay the dust cover that we've pre-attached for the mushroom cap. We're gonna center this the largest of the wood rounds on the top. And now we are going to nail gun this piece onto the base of the mushroom ottoman. We got the wood round for the mushroom cap nailed into place. As you can see, it's not going anywhere. Okay, let's get to glue it. Spray this side and then center it on top of the larger of the two foam rounds. Now that we have both of the foam rounds securely glued into place, we're going to take cotton and build the mushroom cap. This is upholstery grade cotton. You can get it at any of your upholstery supply stores. You want to get it pretty thick because, again, I'm going to be pulling this all down. I want it plush. I want the fuller the better. All right, this is looking really good. Before I press it down, I make sure that I have Dacron wrapped around all of the sides of the mushroom cap. It's great. And we're just going to push it down like so. We're going to cut off as much excess of the Dacron as possible without cutting the dust cover that we have pre-attached. Pull down like so. And we're just going to do a finishing staple. This is a technique you're going to use on basically all upholstery projects, going from 12 to 6, 3 to 9. So we're at 12 o'clock. We're going to turn it 180, finishing it there. Perfect. So with the Dacron, we are developing the shape of the mushroom cap. Cut off the excess. You just want the Dacron to run to the edge of the wood round. Now let's add some fabric. For this step, I am going to first use tack staples and then do finishing staples. And I'm going to go further back than I want with the tack staple. So what I do is I go from where the staple is, I just pull it towards me. When you're starting, you are going to have a little bit of like an indention down the middle because as we pull, it'll keep getting tighter all around. Again, I'm going to do a tack staple on the back. So 12, 6 o'clock. Okay, then we're at 3, tack, 12, 6, 3. Now we're at 9. Now I'm going to put down a finishing staple right here. Pull out this tack real quick. I don't want to get too many finishing staples down until I get the mushroom cap properly shaped how I would like it to look. All right, we're starting to see the shape of the mushroom cap. Now I'm going to cut off some excess fabric and just cut away enough. I still want to have enough for me to be able to physically pull the fabric around, making sure not to cut the dust cover underneath. Take my 2 thumbs, spread out this excess fabric. So what I'm looking for here is I'm just wanting to get a nice little half round. It's not going to be perfect. Mushrooms aren't perfect. Do this. See that? All of that needs to be pulled below the wood round. The reason you don't want that excess there is because when somebody's tuchus goes to sit on the seat, it's going to squish down, and over time this will get all loose. So we're getting as tight as possible. And you also don't want to pull it too tight because right now I'm getting this nice curvature right here, and if I got a little too hulk about it, I could really pull it tight. See that bump I'm causing now? You just want to loosen it. So it's a give and take upholstery with the tightness of the fabric. You want to get it tight, but you don't want to get it too tight where you cause an indentation. And yes, I am putting a lot of tack staples down, and then once it's all tacked down like I like it, I can literally just go boom, 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 boom with the finishing staples. And then we're just gonna start putting the finishing staples in a row. You wanna remove your tack staples. Those are sticking down lower than you want them. And when you get to each section where you're pulling down to put the finishing staple, you wanna make sure that at that particular section, you're pulling straight down from you. And then as I work around the curve, still pulling straight down, but we're working around the curve, keeping about inch and a half away from the edge. And then we're gonna cover these staples with the dust cover. As I'm going, I'm gonna cut off some excess fabric. Slow and steady is the name of the game in upholstery. It is a lot of work, but it will be worth it in the end, I promise. We're gonna have a beautiful mushroom ottoman. All right, I'm gonna let that finish stretching a little bit. I'm gonna cut off some of this dust cover. So see, I got this all stretched nice and tight, stapled with finishing staples. Now we're going to flip it upside down and tack the dust cover into place. Remember, don't push down very hard. For the dust cover, you just barely put any pressure because the air shooting the staple through the gun can actually tear the dust cover. So we're just gonna barely push. Nice, even, and tight. The second piece of dust cover has been stapled into place. Now, last but not least, we're gonna add heavy-duty pads underneath so that the staples are not getting drug across your floor. I'm gonna stick them on the dust cover. They don't really stick that well to fabric. All right, we have the chair pads secured underneath the ottoman. Talk about a epic before and after. Can you believe this used to be a 5-gallon bucket? If you like this project and want to see more, give it a thumbs up and follow HGTV. It's a mushroom.